look at this. We are here with Helen Forder with the PMC Studio Leaf Design Kit, and she is firing up that silver clay so we can see the incredible transformation. Talk to me, Helen, what is it exactly? Why are you doing that right now to the silver clay?
So what I'm doing is I'm reverting to silver to what it was previously. So originally, the way that precious metal clay is made, it's made out of fine silver particles with an organic binder and some water. And then obviously you're using the clay to mould it or sculpt it or whatever you want to make with it. And then you dry the clay, and then once it's dry, you fire it. So basically what you're doing here is getting rid of the last bit of residue of the water and the organic binder. So you're reverting it back to silver. So as you can see, it's now turning a sort of an orange glow, and that's called the sintering process. So basically what you're doing here is fusing back together the little silver particles.
And evaporating any of that moisture.
Yes, hopefully that's done it before now, because otherwise we get bubbles in it. There's some explosives on the show. So right, so here I've fired it, and I've just got a little Pyrex dish of water, and then literally you can just quench it, and then it's metal. So that's the bit. So yes, it always goes back to white. So that's the natural state of silver, and that's simply because that's the way that our brain works. So and by polishing it, we smooth the surface, and that makes it look shiny. But there's actually no residue or anything on it. So you can't actually, well, no one's ever been known to be allergic to it because it has no alloys in it. So so anyone that's allergic to sterling silver tends to be allergic to the copper and the other alloys in it.
They add in it.
But of course, there's nothing in it. It's just pure silver with some cellulose or tree bark and a little bit of water.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about PMC, because not everybody will know what it's all about.
I know, it's always probably best kept secret, really.
It is, I really do.
So the way it was invented probably about 20 years ago now by Mitsubishi in Japan, and they created the first precious metal putty, it was called originally. I'm afraid that precious metal clay is no clearer either, because it's not really a clay, it's not really found anywhere, it's totally man-made. And so the first ones that came out, you could really only fire it in a kiln for up to 2 hours, and it shrank 30%, so it was quite difficult to use. So it's really in recent years that we've seen the new types of clay that have a much longer working time, and they can be fired with a torch, which gives you that great flexibility. So anything that's the size and thickness of a 50p piece can be fired with a torch.
And it literally is like a clay consistency, and it comes in these fantastic little packets, obviously, to keep out the stop them from drying out. And we've got 2 sizes here on the show today, but lots of the website we'll have a look at in a moment. So we've got the 5 grams and 5.6 grams, sorry, and the 15 grams. So let's have a look at the website. You can shop by brand, which can help you allocate the actual PMC designs and kits. You've got the Studio Leaf Design Kit. We'll go through those. We've got the lovely books. We've got the fossil moulding kit, the silver clay itself with the book. Then you can buy the silver clay in the packets as well, £31.99. And I'll ask more of Helen as well, how much jewellery that can make. We've got the cutters, we've got the hand drill, we've got the professional butane gas torch as well. And also, I do want to highlight the fact that you've got tickets to the live 2-day Kent show on the 19th and 20th of May, and Helen will be there doing workshops, which I know are always very, very popular. And you can book in advance for her workshops as well. I think there's a link on there. So, yeah, do have a little look, because you're going to be there, not far from the Hochanda stall itself, are you?
No, we're right in the middle. We've got a stand right in the middle of the show. And then if anybody's been last year, through the hall, through that lovely restaurant, which I really enjoyed, there is the workshop area, and I'll be running 2 workshops every day. So I think there's one at 11 o'clock and one about 2 o'clock, which means you can actually make your piece, get it fired, get it polished, and take it home the same day.
You could make, I mean, this is a little bit more advanced, but I'm going to put my hands in the shot here, 'cause there's such beautiful designs on the show. I mean, you can make pendants, you can make rings, you can make keepsakes, little key rings, you know, baby fingerprints in, you know, because we've got the putty on the show today. Anything, any sort of household object around, anything that is inspired by nature, shells?
Yes, it is, lots of things. So we're going to be doing the moulding as well. We're going to be using some leaves. I'm going to use some veined leaves, but of course now, you know, the gardeners are coming into life, as my garden certainly has been. Then you can use live leaves as well. Just, you know, lavender I've been using quite a lot. It's really good. Yeah. So that's great.
So this is a fantastic starter kit. What have I got in the kit to get me started?
So in the kit you've got a little bit of everything, because the great thing about these little kits is that you want to start with some basics and that you can just add to them later on. So nothing's ever wasted. So you've got your work mat here. You've got a little packet of clay, and it's the new PMC Flex, which is great. It gives you really long working time, so you don't have to panic about the clay drying out when you start. Should it dry out, you've got a little bit of the PMC Aqua. That's a brand new product. It hasn't actually gone on sale yet, and that you can actually bring the clay back to life. So if you've really pushed it too far, few drops in, leave it, and that really does the job. You've got a little bit of release agent there, so that's a natural beeswax and olive oil based cream. So because of course it's a release agent you use on your hands and on your tools, but of course you've got to be really careful when you're mixing something into the clay, because don't forget you've got to sinter it back into the metal. So you've got to be really careful. So never ever use Vaseline. Yes, you could have some, you know, you can have a beautiful piece make and it breaks later on. So you've got that, you've got a few little tools there, you've got some leaves, and you've got the important spacer and roller set. So you've got the spacers, there's 2 spacers and a roller, which means that you will always roll the clay to the correct thickness, and you've got a little chain to hang it on so you can complete your piece, really.
So 5 grams, would that make a decent sized pendant? Would it make too little?
It makes a pair of earrings or a small pendant on charm. Lovely. The good thing about if you look closely on the pack, I won't dismantle the display here. There's always two weights on it. So as you can see, so as you can see, the top weight says 5.6 grams. Now that is the weight of the clay, including the binder and the water. Once it's fired, you've got 5 grams of silver. So as you can see, there's actually very little binder and water in it. But it means that later on I'll be talking a little bit about hallmarking precious metal clay.
Because it is proper silver, isn't it?
It is fine silver that you're working for. This is not
fine silver, not sterling. This is
fine silver. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. But so that means that if you're making a piece like this and you want to sell it, it is exempt from hallmarking. It's 7.78 grams is the barrier. So basically anything under you can sell as fine silver, but you don't need to hallmark it. Although it's nice though, because you know, to register your hallmark, you get your initials.
Yeah, you can. It's exciting.
Yes, of course, I've got PMC, but you know, the first 3 letters of your company name.
Fantastic. And we've also got lots on the show, obviously, like the butane torch, because I know you haven't brought this before. Helen,
it's the first time I've brought the torch. I normally bring a small sort of economy torch to sort of get people started, but to be honest, this is the torch that I use all the time. I use it in all my workshops. You'll see when I just fire, I'll be firing again a bit later. Mine is looking not quite so pristine anymore, but I've probably been using that torch at least 5 to 10 years, and it just goes on and on. You've got a really great torch, also not just for firing your silver clay, but you can also use it for soldering. So later on, if you want to solder earrings, wires onto it and things like that, you can do that as well.
Fantastic. Some more of this. I love this because they've got the clay coming up as well. I'm going to pop that over there.
Yeah, that torch will fire for about an hour to and a half.
Yeah, we can just get replacement.
You just use butane gas. Yep. I'll show you how to fill it up. It's just a great solid torch.
2 flexi-buy payments on that, £20, $39.99, 679 783, and that is, you got that for life. That'd be absolutely brilliant with your silver clay making. Busy already for this next item, and that's why I showed the little fingerprint, because I was like, how do you do that? But they're lovely little keepsakes. I did it with my little boy.
Did you? Yeah, that's my daughter. I think, Catherine, it's got her name on it.
Got her name on it. Sorry, I wasn't quite as good as you with the. Look at that with the name. Isn't that fantastic? Her little fingerprint there, so you can make a lovely pendant like this. So this is why we might need this actual putty, isn't it?
The putty, you can actually do the fingerprint straight into the clay, or you can create a mould as well. But we're going to be using the sort of the mould. I love the fossils. You know, it is just, you know, if you think that shark's tooth, I think is the youngest. It's only 50 million years old, that one.
Only?
You know, only.
So the oldest, so you can only find something as old as 50 million?
And the other one is 150 million. It's just unbelievable. And these are original fossils, you know.
Wow.
It's just fantastic. Yeah, that's a trilobite. That's the oldest.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So we can encapsulate these for all time by using our putty. How does that, well, you'll show us how it works, because
Yes.
you mix them together, don't you?
Yes, yes, you do, yeah.
And also in this pack, we are getting an ample 7 grams, like you said, with our binders in it before you fire and rid of that. So 6.3 grams of fine silver there. £31.49 Freedom Club discount on that. I was talking about being a Freedom Club member, but $34.99 otherwise, $389,399. Now, why would we need the book?
I think the books are always great for inspiration. You know, things change, and you know, we all tend to sort of make our favourite things, isn't it? So sometimes it's nice to get inspiration. This is a book by Marianne Davos. She was probably one of the original people working with PMC when there was no tools and equipment.
Really?
And so a lot of the tools and things are things that she named many years ago. And it's a great sort of mixed media idea. So once you get past the basics and you think, oh God, what else can I do? You see here, you can do gold, that's the kombu. You can do enamelling, you can put it in glass, ceramics, you know, there's lots of other things that you can do. And then the other book that I really like is this one, which is the one by Irina. And Irina is a really great practical artist. You know, when you see her work, it is just like in the book. And it's beautifully finished always. So again, some really great ideas. I particularly like her spoon project that's in there as well.
Spoon project?
So and that's the one using the moulding compound.
Oh, spoons.
And here, bead caps. So anybody that does lamp work beads and wants to make a few bead caps with it, then you can do that as well. So again, it's just really nice to see ideas because, as we know, nothing's ever really new. You know, it's most things have been done before.
Find your spoon.
I'm trying to find the spoon.
Oh, we'll come back to that.
It's difficult. As soon as you look for it, you won't find it.
It'll disappear. No, just leafing through this. Fantastic. For both of these books, we're looking as little as 11 for both of these.
Yeah, I know, because this book on its own, I think, was $16.50, and the other one was about $15. So it is an amazing book. You know,
stunning.
And they're just great books to have. You know.
They are indeed. Well, I can't find the spoon, but I won't waste time looking for spoons. But it's fun. Sounds exciting. So £11.98 there, £18 saving, 327,993, £18 saving there. Wow, that's incredible. And finally, we've got another gorgeous book offer with the clay, and again. This comes with a fantastic the PMC clay as well, as Karen explained, 5 grams when you've got your fine silver, and with the binders that explains the higher weight.
Yeah, that's the one that I wrote because I know a lot of the books are American, and people said, oh, please can you just write a book that's in English? So this book is in English, so you won't find any American. And I've made it really, really simple there. So these are all projects that you can torch fire at home, and you probably see some of the projects in the book in the display today. So yeah, they're just really practical
lovely
things.
Skill level.
Different skill levels. So you're confident, and you know you're going to make. You know, when you're starting out, you're spending a lot of money on silver. It's not a cheap material, and you want your piece to work. And you always want. See, there's the leaves from the sage leaves from my garden.
Yes, fantastic.
So it's just great. You know, you want something to look professional. You know, I always say it should look handmade, not homemade. You know,
that's a really good saying.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So they're all things you can torch fire, all made with the PMC flex.
These are both two of your designs as well that I'm wearing. I mean, there's so much beautiful jewellery around the studio. Can I just apologise? We've had a bit of a gremlin this morning. So just to reiterate, all you're paying for that gorgeous book, which is Karen's, is $15.99 plus the clay. That's amazing.
Yes, it is. The last few. The last few ones. So
Wow. £15.99, 469,981. So apologies. Check out on the website as well. Check out your basket. We've got the lovely cutters there. We'll come to those. The square set, the triangular set. We've also got 10 fireproof gem mix. Now it's important that they're fireproof. It sounds a bit silly, but it does. And we've had a question from Sue, which I'll come to Karen with in a moment as well. Fantastic, because you're going to do some demonstrating for us, aren't you?
Yes, and okay, so I've got some clay here. Right.
Show us how it all works.
Right, so let me just clean up here.
What was Sue's question?
Yes.
She wants to know. When you're doing the firing, when do you know it's done? She's got some PMC that she hasn't used it yet. She's a bit worried about firing it.
Yes. Okay,
when do you know when it's had enough firing?
Yes, watch this show so you know what colour to go for. So the tips for the firing, how do you know it's done? You can't, and that's why firing is so important when it comes to precious metal clay. It will always go back to white. I once had a lady come to a ring, wearing a ring to a course of mine, and she had glass in it. And she said, oh, I torch fired this. And I said, that's impossible, because if you torch fire it, your glass would explode. Yeah. And she goes, no, I've been wearing it for 6 months. So I said, I'd prove it to you. So I ran it through the kiln. Of course, it shrank 3 sizes. So, you know, sometimes PMC is remarkably strong, but the easy thing is you can't really tell. You know, you just fire it. So I'll fire it again. That's why I do it twice during the show. Okay. I'll fire it again. I'll show you, so you know you get the right colour like we did at the beginning of the show, and you want a minimum of 2 minutes. So now everybody's got a mobile phone, or if you've got an old-fashioned kitchen timer, you can use that as well, and it's a minimum of two minutes.
Is there such a thing as over-firing?
No, you can't. PMC, you can fire it as many times as you want, as long as you you don't go over the temperature. So when we're using this torch, you're firing just over about 900 degrees. The melting point of silver is about 980, so you want to stay away from that melting point, and that's all you're doing. You're maintaining that heat. That's why, you know, the great thing to do is in the winter or when the lights are down, so you can see that glow. You don't want it to go red. If it's gone silver, you've melted it. Yeah, then you've gone too far. Okay. So you can fire it as long as you want, as many times you want. So for instance, if you've got a kiln already and you're doing ceramics, you can, you know, you're doing a glaze firing that's maybe 7 hours, you can just put it all in together. And in fact, it makes it stronger. So don't be afraid to fire things over and over again. So sometimes if you're making something really delicate, you fire it and you go, oh, you know what? I wanted that extra leaf over there. Add it on, fire it again. It only makes your piece stronger.
Wow.
So that's the great thing about it.
So we're going to start at the beginning?
We're going to start, yes. So we're going to start with the moulding putty, I think, because I love the moulding putty. And as I said, we've got some... of the, I don't know what, bit of glitter there. Yeah. Got some of the different pieces here. So I've also got my box of bits that sort of grown over the years. So for instance, with the mould, so you've got the necklace there, for instance. You can see these are the moulds that I used to make those pieces. So once you've got the mould, and I've had these more than 10 years.
You can use them over and
over again. And also you don't have to use the whole mould, so you can just use part of the mould. So shells are great, because if you want to make a small shell, you just use a small bit of the mould, or you can make a whole, so with just one mould, you can make lots of different size shells. So they don't always look the same. And the nice thing is, if you're making jewellery, you don't want your work all to be the same. You want it slightly different. And because the clay moves around in the mould, it would be different. So yes, so this is what the clay looks like. And I know it's always a bit disappointing when it comes out the packet, because obviously the binder makes it look brown and not silver. So right, let's...
any little bits that you've got around the house you can use, can't you?
Yes, I love that. That was from a suit. I no longer fit the suit, but I still got the button.
Buttons, leaves, fossil shells, little keepsakes from childhood. I mean,
yes, or sometimes you get it, you know, if you've got a pair of earrings and you've lost one, then you can just make the other one. And yes, there is a little bit of shrinkage, but, you know, your ears are far enough apart that no one's going to notice, you know. So, great. So, the trick to the moulding compound, you get an equal amount of each.
Of the blue and the white.
And the blue and the white. So, but of course, because of the different colours, you know, the white obviously looks bigger than the blue. So the way to make sure that you end up with all white and no blue left is just to roll them into two balls. So then you can see that you've got an equal amount.
Okay.
So then the next thing to do is to literally just squish them together. And you want to do this quite quickly, because you're literally just mixing them together. You're not warming it up or anything. You're mixing it together into one equal colour. So there we go. So Should have some music, really. No, we're done. And
doesn't take long, does it?
No, it doesn't take long. I work a lot on Teflon. So then you just put it onto the Teflon, make yourself a little putty. And here I'll just use my button because it just makes a lovely, and then just press it down. Here we go, and just make sure it goes round the edge. So you don't want the moulding putty to come over the edge really, because then you've got to dig out the button. Now you can, say you had this one and you wanted to make this ammonite both-sided. What you can do is you press that in, you could push another separate batch on top of it, so make 2 little batches, sandwich it in between, and just use a craft knife or a small, you know, a potato peeling knife, and then you could just cut it and make a 2-part mould with it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So this sets really quite quickly, so it's about 5 to 10 minutes depending on the weather, and to check it you just literally put your nail into it. So don't pull it out and think, oh no, it hasn't quite set yet. So just leave it. And then, of course, good TV style. Here is one that we made earlier. So, you know, we'll use one of those. So here, so basically, once you've made the mould, you don't need to use any release agent or anything because these just release straight away. And then what you do is you take a little bit of clay. Now, I tend to roll the clay in the palms of my hands. That way, I don't get any lines in the clay. And as you can see, I'm not wearing any sort of jewellery to nick it. There's nothing worse when you've made a piece and you've got a scratch in it. So
is there a rule to the certain thickness or anything, Helen?
Yes, so that's when we go back to the spacers and rollers. So what you want to do is you want the core of your piece to be 1 millimetre plus the depth of your texture on the front and the bottom, so that it doesn't snap later on. So what I'm doing here is I'm pushing the clay around the mould, so I'm not overfilling it. If you use too much clay, take it out of the mould, do it again. Now, as you can see, this clay's gone slightly dry. If you want to, just run a little bit of water over it. Water is great. It just works like a little rubber, and you can rub out all the little cracks in it, and it saves you sanding. I'm not a fan of sanding. I don't like to waste any PMC at all. I know you can recycle it into paste, but it just goes against my nature.
That's fine.
So there you go. Yeah, I recycle very little. So there we go, and it's ready to go. So don't let it dry in the mould. No. Just put it straight out.
There's our perfect
and there you go.
imprint.
So it's a perfect imprint. Now, I'm not sure the camera's going to pick this up, but
we can see. We can see that, Helen.
It is. I see. You can get another one.
I can just give that a little tilt
towards the camera. I can get another little one out. It really does give great texture, and that's where we've got the liver of sulphur gel as well that we can use to highlight it. And,
I love this.
Here's the liver of sulphur gel. And the thing is, with the great thing about the liver of sulphur, if you don't like it, just get your torch, burn it off. You know, it's non-toxic. You're not going to get any nasty fumes. So here, I've got quite an odd shape. So here was a little dragonfly. I think it's some hideous pink thing, actually.
There's it kind of gives an antique feel to the it's almost like silver's oxidised slightly.
Yeah, it's oxidisation.
There you go. £12.90 introductory price for 2. Ooh,
yes, it is lifetime supply, and the great thing about the gel is that you can just use a cotton wool bud and just paint it on. Ooh, so don't use your paintbrush because it will eat your paintbrush.
Fantastic.
Right, so I've got too much clay here. Let me just push it all back in again. And going to move it back. Sometimes what I do, if I'm doing little bugs and things, because often you find in my work, I've hidden a little spider somewhere. Oh, there's a little frog on the leaf there, for instance. The big leaf here has got a little frog on it.
Yeah, let me show everybody this piece here.
So you can see the leaf. So then I just sort of use that to highlight it. But what I do is I put a little bit of, so when I mould that frog, I leave a little bit of flesh onto it in the mould, and then you see what I can do is just use this to integrate that onto the leaf. So I've got something to put in, rather than just stick him on with some paste. Right. Okay.
Oh, just got the butterflies and the rings, and you do workshops, don't you, as well? Obviously, we know we can come to those in Kent on the 19th and 20th of May. But the company itself, PMC, they have training places?
Yes, we've got various training centres across the country. We've got York, Sheffield, Oxford, Woking and North Devon.
So
yes,
if we want to get involved with workshops direct with them, with PMC, then
yeah, it is. Sometimes, you know, the great thing about workshop is you don't waste any of the silver.
Yeah.
You can see all the tools and equipment. You come away with a really nice finished piece, and then you can decide whether you want to continue with it, or you've bought things, you're not sure how to use them.
Yeah.
Bring them along, you know.
Yeah.
So that's really good to do that.
We had another question, didn't we? From Sue, yes. Can we... Okay, if you have sorry, it's me on talkback. So if you have one piece that you've already fired, can you put on top of that an unfired piece and then fire again?
Yes, yes, you can. Yeah, any combination.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then if you've really fired something and you absolutely hate it, you can actually melt it down again. You can recycle it. Okay, you need a friend with a rolling mill, but you can put it through a rolling mill, or you know, local silversmithing course or something, and it makes fantastic bangles as well. And that silver is really bright white silver, so it's never wasted. It's never wasted.
So it's amazing stuff, isn't it?
Yes. So what should we do? Should we do the leaves next?
Yes,
have a go
please.
with the leaves.
In the starter kit, yes, because we've got the moulding kit there with the fossil moulding kit there, 389399. But let's have a little look at the actual what is basically a really great starter kit with a chain and that little bottle of alchemy, you know, the one that can make any bit of your silver clay that's dried up, and you're just thinking, oh.
So you can see this is getting a bit dry. So yes, you literally put a drop into it.
And it sort of rejuvenates it, doesn't it?
It does. It's brilliant. It's better than water.
So we get our brushes, we get our silver clay, PMC Flex, and then the mats and the rollers and your spacers and everything to get started basically.
Yes, that's it. So right. So I'm just using So basically, when you start working with, you've got the clay release balm. So you need the clay release balm basically on your fingertips. Don't go for the whole hog with the manicure. So, you know, it should last a long, long time. And again, you don't want to add anything unnecessarily into the clay. You can use a little bit on your rolling pin. Now, we've just put some on here. And I'm just going to roll the clay. So when you start rolling the clay, just put the blob down. Blob, I know it's a slab of clay. You start in the middle and you literally roll backwards and forwards. If you want to, and always roll to the shape that you want it to be. So move your spacers along and just give it a firm roll, and it should be nice and smooth. If for any reason you've got cracks at this point, just roll it out again. Now with these leaves, when I was experimenting with them, I thought, oh gosh, my leaves are going to get stuck into the clay. Now, you could roll them in and fire them off, because obviously it's organic, so it will just burn off. I tried doing it with the release agent, and that wasn't any good either. It sort of just took the leaf apart. So I'm just going to put it on without anything at all.
So we could actually use, you just said you used your basil leaves, didn't you? So we could actually use real leaves as well.
Yeah, you can use real leaves. But sometimes, you know, you just want to see what this does is gives a really subtle texture, which is really nice. And we've got all these lovely cutters. So you can either cut it to shape by hand, and at this point you're just getting the general shape, because you're going to refine your piece once it's dry. So for instance, if I just wanted to do...
Oh, I like that, nice geometric square.
Yes, geometric is always good. And
we'll just show a little still of those cutters, if that's all right, Helen, because there are a set of 4 square cutters, and then we've got a set of the
these are the cutters.
4 of the triangle ones as well. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
11.99, 249, 859. Freedom discount there, £10, 79. Something I wanted to ask you as well, while we're just looking at our cutters, is once you've cut, what do we do with the rest of our little silver clay that we're the blob around the outside? How do we store that?
So the rest of it, always just put it back into the pouch. So pouch, always put it back into the pouch. The pouches are resealable.
Oh, that's good.
You know, they've spent a lot of money onto these pouches.
Yeah.
So out now with the badger bar, I can hardly open it. So put it in there. So it comes into, now you've got your wrapper in it. Obviously this is rather Lawler clay. You wrap it in there, put it in there. You can either put in a little bit of damp sponge, or I use a little bit of kitchen towel. But now we've got the PMC Aqua, you don't really have to worry about it. But the thing to do, which I always recommend, the PMC comes in lots of different pack sizes. Buy the pack size for the project that you're going to do. You don't really save money buying a bigger pack. No. You know, it's pennies. And you'd rather be better off having fresh clay rather than opening a big pack and thinking, oh gosh, I've got to use it all up and panic and make things that you don't really need, to be honest.
And how long would it last in once we've opened up that packet?
Oh, the flex now, I would say, gosh, probably couple of months.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. It's really moved on, hasn't it?
It has moved on a lot. And then what I do, so again what you said about taking off the excess clay, so I've removed it from the cutter, and what I do is if I'm continuing working is I just take the lid of my release balm and I just store it underneath there. So if I'm working, I just have it underneath my lid.
Come to that in a moment and make something else.
Yeah, so that's a really handy thing because it saves you going in and out the packet and the thing. So the next thing is I've got it in there, so I've given it a good wiggle, and if it gets stuck like it tends to do, just take a damp paintbrush. So use your paintbrush and just ease it out. Don't use any others because then you might stab it, and then go round it. Yes,
because we don't want to lose that lovely print.
Yeah, so there you go. You can just go around it and then make. So again, I'm doing very, very little sanding at this point. I would just leave it to dry, and that's it. And then it's a quick sand. So yeah, and then I would drill my hole. So we can have a go at the hand drill next.
Fantastic. Sorry, I was. What? I'm sorry, your book's doing really well.
Oh no!
This is why I'm looking at it. No, this is great.
My mum won't get one.
I'm not surprised because we can't believe we're getting the silver, the actual PMC flex there as well, the 5 grams there as well. Plus the book, $15.99. And what I loved about the book was as well, you got your starter, your medium, and your advanced. 469980. Now you mentioned drill, didn't you, Tina?
I did. So that's our new thing today. That's
great. The drill's brilliant.
It's good. It's about, you don't need a lot of tools in PMC, but if you're going to invest in anything, then get some nice tools that you can use for lots of different things and that will last you. And what I really love about this drill is that, you know, everybody who's watching this show has got loads of bits at home, isn't it? And it's finding them all when you need them.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So the great thing about this is that if the barrel comes off, so it opens up, and you can put all your drill bits inside the barrel.
Store them in there so they never get lost,
Exactly. So I've had my drills for many, many years. And of course I love these ones because it's got the diamante
They're great.
on it.
I've seen these before with a little file on there as well.
Yeah, so they're really good. We get them all. So the drill bits, we get them all made. So these are a thing that's made for us because what we do is we get them all in the sizes that we want. So you can do your earrings, your pendants, and your charms.
That's fantastic.
And you don't end up with these drill bits going, well, actually, those are the ones I didn't really need.
Yes.
So they're just the ones that you need, really. And if you use it in the dry PMC, they will last forever. You know, as you can see, my drill has been well in use. Oh God, must have had that 10 years. And then basically the collet comes off. This, you take it out to put in the drill bits. It comes with the ones to put all the different files in. So you can just put your file in,
tighten it up,
and away you go. So you can do your filing. So you do all your filing, all your drilling before you file your PMC. Should you've forgotten it, then you can do it afterwards. But of course, it won't keep your drill bits quite so sharp. Now, if you're drilling into something, so let me get my rubber block out. It's got many holes in it already. So here, any of the video viewers will recognise this as the demo piece from the last show. So here we go, and we didn't quite get around to drilling the hole because it was wet at the time.
Yeah, so it's dried out, but it's pre-firing.
Exactly. So this was our primrose
lovely
pendant, and that's the one we did on that show. So basically, you want to make sure your piece is totally dry before drilling it. Now the flex does stay a little bit flexible, but don't worry. And basically, you put it onto your rubber block, and the rubber block just gives it a bit of friction. So when you use your drill, so I'm just going to use drill.
If we haven't got a rubber block, is there anything we can use to hand that you would recommend?
Yeah, just do it in your hands. Yeah, probably not. Some health and safety rule against it. But so you
some surface that you're not going to damage, basically.
Yeah, it's not a pneumatic drill. You know, anybody's safe with a corkscrew. You can manage this one. So so you just pop it on the block. And what it does, the block is also great for polishing. You'll see that later when we do it, we polish it. So it's easier on your wrists more than anything else. The drill does all the work. So let the drill do all the work for you. It could be
those drills bits are fantastic. You've got some lovely fine ones in there. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and also what you can do is if you're not sure where to drill, just use a pencil. See, it goes through really, really quickly. Use a pencil to mark it up. A pencil will always burn off during firing. Okay. So mark it up, and it's the same thing if you're going to engrave a name into a piece or a date or something. If you're making keepsake jewellery, write it on with a with a pencil. If you don't like it, you can just sand it off. To be honest, so it's all going to disappear. So go in. So also you can just do a pilot hole. If you're working close to an edge, so close to the edge here, then you can use your drill just to move the hole inwards. So you want to be about 2 millimetres from the end of your piece.
And that drill is brand new today, £22.49, 459571, already approaching a quarter gone. That is an absolute must-have. That is a brilliant piece of kit. It's what I get my
dad for Christmas every year.
Yeah. Do you know what? You'll find other uses for it. That's the thing.
Well, he does. He makes model aeroplanes. He's a bit sad. Yes, I know. So as you can see, I've got some crumbs here. One of the rare occasions that I make any.
What?
I know.
It's got some waste.
I know. No. So here is my trusty pot, as you can see. And then what I do is I just put it back into a little pot. So you can either use an old paste pot or a little sort of makeup pot, that sort of thing. And then all you do is just give it a stir. So again, this is where your aqua comes in. It makes perfect paste. So some of the test pieces I did with the leaves, I actually used recycled paste with aqua, which I wouldn't normally do because it's like you turn it over and you get some gritty back on it. But that lavender piece, that's lavender.
You use the lavender from your garden.
Yes.
Inspired.
So that is recycled paste with aqua, which I would normally not recommend.
But you collect enough of those little bits.
It does. And leaves actually use very little paste. It's great.
It's like gorgeous.
It's probably only about 3 grams, that piece.
Stunning, and it's so striking.
Really it is, beautiful. And it's something you can't replicate,
It's an original, isn't it?
Yeah, there's lots of things that are mass-produced,
Yeah. And this is even finer silver, isn't it? That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
You can't believe that when you look at the substance, you're actually working with real, proper silver. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
Do you want to go through it quickly over the hallmarking card? I'll just briefly go over that.
Why not?
For anybody that's looking to make jewellery to sell, so this is what's called the dealer's notice. Now, you can get a fancy one like this from any of the assay offices, and they cost £10. But you can also download this free of charge from any of the assay office websites. So if you're making jewellery to sell, by law, you need to have this on display. It needs to be an A4 to this DPI print, so you can print it off on your printer at home. And you just have to, and as you can see, it says the exemption weight at the bottom is 7.78 grams. So
anything below that doesn't need the hall.
Yeah, so you can see these are the purity levels, 900, nothing's really 800, nothing's really marked. You've got your sterling 925, you've got your Britannia at 950, which
sometimes you see in your
pots, it's basically
trays and spoons and things,
and then we've got 999 fine silver. So we do have some sterling PMC, but you need to fire that in a kiln. But the ones that we're using on the show, the 3 and the flex, you can fire in a kiln or with a torch. You have a choice, and you can register with any of the 4 assay offices. In fact, if you do a course with any of our training centres, you get free hallmarking registration with both London and Birmingham.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, every little helps,
You do little day trips. You can go down to the assay office and have a little day trip. They're fantastic.
Yeah, we're planning one for students. There's Make Your Mark in London, which will probably be about November, and we'll announce the date in Birmingham. So Birmingham's actually hosting a PMC a day there as well. You can have a tour of the...
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it. It's brilliant. It's fascinating.
It's really good. Yeah.
Don't forget, Helen's going to be with us on the 19th and 20th of May. Book your workshop there. Get those tickets down to the event in Kent as well. Yeah, right. We're approaching a quarter of the lovely leaf starter kit, leaf design kit gone. So what's next? Where do you want to go to next?
I'm just wondering the time. I know I just get carried away.
Well,
how are we doing time-wise?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay.
18 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, right. Shall I just take you through the firing? Because obviously that is really important. Yeah. And I think that's always the important thing that puts people off, really, because you want to make sure it's fired. You know, we can all be really creative, and with the PMC, it doesn't go off. So once you've made your piece, you can just leave it, you know, on a radiator, on a sunny spot. If you're really impatient like me, you can get your hairdryer out, do it with a hairdryer.
Pop it in the airing cupboard, that's what I do.
Yeah, so use a food dehydrator or an oven at 50 degrees. If you do any other sort of, you know, that friendly plastic things, I think they use an oven that's about 50 degrees, isn't it? A toaster oven. Right. That's really good too. So, but yeah, plenty of opportunities. So
and you've got the, I do mention this because you've got those special gems as well on the website for the firing.
Yeah, so the gems. Now, the gems are a bit of a minefield. I do all the gem testing. So yes, I did go to GemA, if you're interested in gems. GemA, the Gemological Association of Great Britain, is brilliant. Yeah. So these are synthetic gemstones. So these are lab-grown gems, which means they have the same chemical composition as a natural gemstone. So that is a synthetic ruby, and they're all just synthetic corundum, spinels. So they're different synthetic gemstones. These are not cubic zirconias. No. So just because it says cubic zirconia doesn't always mean that you can fire it. No. It depends what sort of technique has been used to create these gemstones and in which part of the world. So obviously, if you've had something that's like European-made cubic zirconia, it's much more expensive, but you know, you get the quality. There are some natural gemstones that you can fire, but they need to go in a kiln. And again, it depends on the chemical composition. Just because it's a peridot doesn't mean it can be fired in a kiln. So,
really lovely gemstones. So I'd go with the.
So these are really safe. And again, you can fire these multiple times. So you've put your gemstone in it.
Set them in.
You've had to do something that made you stop firing. You're not going to lose it. So to set a gemstone, I think we've done it in a previous show. You can just literally push these into the clay, and you have the top of the stone or the table of the stone is level with the clay, because the clay is going to shrink 10%. So that's going to push that stone up, but you want it, you know, obviously you don't want your stone covered in the clay. So it's simple rule. So if you've got your gemstone, that's the table, that's the culé of the stone, the table goes level with the clay, and then it just pops up slightly, so you've got a lovely piece, because you tend to put the gemstone in the centre of your piece, so you want it to go. So don't put anything like Swarovski crystals in or anything like that, because that's just glass. It's going to melt. It's going to go a horrible dark murky colour.
I'm shining there. That's your table on the top.
Yeah, that's the table.
My fingerprint on the top there.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, clean that off afterwards. But yeah, that's your table. So that's what.
They're gorgeous.
Anyway, should we fire? I just thought I'd mention that because they're £9.99. You get 10 in those. 224-496. You want to add that extra bit of sparkle, because everything Helen said there, it's really important, especially with your gems. So we've got our dried out piece. We waited patiently for that to dry out because we don't want bubbles creating when we fire.
Now my timer's gone.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I can use my watch. Good old-fashioned seconds in. It's all right, you tell me when you go.
It's live TV, can't you? So, right, what we're going to do. So we need some lights down. Actually, before we turn the lights down, I'll just go through to the torch, why I love this torch.
We do love the torch.
I've gone through lots of different torches over the years, and some are too hot, which means that you're more likely to melt your pieces, but this is just a really good torch. So it comes with a base. And I just have the habit of keeping the base on, to be honest, so I can always put my torch down. But so you can see there's the hole in it. The hole goes through the base. So to fill the torch up, sorry, I'm moving around. Look. So you've got your normal butane gas lighter fuel. Now, you know when you get the lighter fuel, it comes with all these different attachments in the lids and things. You don't need those. Just use it as it comes. Great. And you literally just press it down. And you can see this is full. There we go. So once it overflows, it's full. And you can also feel the base of this go cold. So then you know it's filled up. So that's a really simple way of filling it. So there you go. There you go. And then, so with this one, it's got the lock on it. So you've got the plus and the minus sign that turns the gas on. and it's a self-ignition. So you don't need to keep your finger onto this, because the cheaper torches are standing like this and you get a sore thumb.
Yes, the pressure.
Yeah, so you don't really do that. And here, this is fully adjustable as well. So the flame is adjustable here. So that's really easy. You're using the hottest part of your flame here. And you've got this that sort of keeps cool. Well, in time it will get hot, but it's just a really nice torch to use. And it's fully adjustable. There you go.
Great.
Yeah, always works.
That's a handy bit of kit, isn't it?
When you're doing live TV, you can't be stuck with a torch. That's not going to work. so it's a great thing. And then later on, if you're doing things like soldering earring wires on it, or you want to make brooches, I think again you can use this torch for soldering. So I always think just buy once rather than buy lots of different things.
679 and 783. We've got the 2 flexi-buy payments on that as well.
So we've got the piece here. We know this is dry, so make sure it's absolutely dry. If you've got any moisture left into the clay, then what will happen, it will bubble and it will sort of explode, which is not really what we want. So it will go through different stages. If you can just have, that's it. Great camera work.
And as Sue was asking earlier, I'll just repeat it in case you missed it. You know, you can't overfire, you can fire as many times as you like. We're going to go for 2 minutes, so I'll start timing now. Pay attention, Fiona.
Not yet.
No, you've got to wait for it to go white.
You've got, yes.
Glow.
Starts to glow.
Yeah. Starts to glow, there we go.
So we go through space. So you can see now, you can see a little bit of smoke coming away.
You can see that,
yes.
yeah.
So there we go. So this is where the binder is starting to burn off. Okay. And as you can see on the edge there, it's starting to curl a bit. Now I get lots of calls and they said, oh, I fired my piece and the piece curled. And I say, you didn't fire it properly. So the thing is that people sometimes fire it too high. They could have been standing there for 10 minutes, but of course the piece is not fired at all. It started to curl and it's never got to that orange stage.
Okay.
And that's the great thing about Hochanda TV, is that we can see it all here. So you can see the edges now curl. So this is where it's coming to start to fire. And PMC will always flatten itself out unless you've dried it curled up and you want to stay that shape, in which case you can get a little bit of fibre blanket to hold the shape. But see how it curls?
You can see it shrinking, sort of, So now
there
it's
starting to glow.
Yeah,
great. And this is where we can now start your timer for 2 minutes.
Here we go.
And if you're not sure, you can fire it for as long as you like. You find that, 2 minutes feels like a lifetime, really. and we will see now that it goes. So, so anything the size and thickness of a 50p piece can be torch fired. If you're doing a small pair of earrings, I would say fire them both at the same time. So all I'm doing is just keeping the whole piece heated, and that's why we don't do a bigger piece. When it comes to, the leaves and things, if you're doing a very small leaf, fine. If you're doing a bigger leaf, you're creating a bonfire, so try not to do it. So you can see it's going down now?
Yes, you can see it's starting to flatten again. And you don't need to turn it over or anything like that?
No.
For 3/4 of a minute so far?
Yeah. No, you just see. And this is just a, block. We've used these before. They just stay cool. They're just really safe.
Is that a special kind of block that we need?
Yeah, it's a soldering or a torch block.
Lovely.
Yeah, so don't use the kiln brick. If you get a big white block, then that's a kiln brick and it's going to burn a hole in your kitchen table, which we would rather not do. So here we go.
So we're 1 minute to 10 seconds at the moment.
So you see, I know, as you can see, now you might be able to see, I tend to work to actual size, even though PMC shrinks 10 to 15% if you torch fire it slightly more.
Yeah.
But, to me, it still looks the same size.
Yeah, I'll be honest, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There we go, so that's great.
I know you said it shrinks slightly, but it's pretty negligible though, isn't it?
So in this piece, what I did was I put a little tab onto the back of it, which sometimes is just a feature. And this one I cut out with a straw. So I used a larger drinking straw for the outside and a smaller drinking straw for the inside. And then I literally stuck them together with the paste.
Oh, that's brilliant, the drinking straw. We've got about 10 seconds left, so I'll give you the countdown.
Yeah.
That's 5, 4, 3.
But with the flex, you can just use water to join as well. 1.
Let's see, 2 minutes.
Okay, brilliant. So, switch that off. I've got my bowl of water here in my messy corner. And I'm just using a Tweezers? Oh, it's early in the morning. And there they go. So again, I'm quenching it. You know, the advantage of quenching is that you're hardening the metal, and even more important, you don't burn your fingers.
Exactly.
So you could leave it there, and you go back and you go, oh gosh, you know, is it cool or not? So there we go. We fired that. And the next stage. Yeah. So it's just that uneven textured surface. Yeah. So again, on my lovely rubber block. And so the next bit that we're going to do is to polish it. So I tend to use a stainless steel brush on this.
This is my favourite bit.
Yeah. Oh, you can do it then.
No, yeah, it's fine. I love it's the magic.
There we
it's
go.
The magic. I want everybody to see the lovely, when it starts to change. If anybody's not seen the lovely PMC clay, but yeah, it actually just starts to, you know, the white goes away and you start to see that lovely silver, the magic underneath. Oh.
Yeah, so that's great. So I use stainless steel because you can get brass brushes. If you're using brass, you need to use it with water, but stainless steel just means that it doesn't go a yellow tinge. I know, it's just great, isn't it?
It's magic, it's magic. Fantastic. Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant stuff. We need to all be doing our PMC clay, taking our lovely silver jewellery and getting inspired by
We're very proud
home.
that these brushes are made in the UK. I think we've got the only brush manufacturer left who makes these, which is fabulous.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
They're not making the stainless steel brushes.
No, the stainless steel comes from Germany.
Oh, I see.
And then, but the brushes are all handmade in the UK. Yeah, so it's brilliant. Oh. And then
don't forget to do your reverse, of course, but
yes, and the edges, right? No, that's and then the next bit I've got is the burnisher. So again, so you're compacting it even more, and especially doing your edges here. You can see that it goes more shiny.
Yeah, it goes even more shiny. Because some people like to have that sort of matte finish, and then some others like the shiny, or have a mixture, really, don't they?
You can have a mixture, and also if you fire it again, it goes back to white, but you know it will polish up a lot quicker. And then, you know, after you rub block, it's always good to have a little bit of a silver polishing cloth that will get it off more.
Gorgeous.
So there you go. So yeah, so it's really good to use this.
So this is the Studio Leaf Design Kit. We've got, you know, to get you started, £24.29, 510631. We've also got that fantastic butane gas torch that Helen's been demonstrating, 679783. The bottom of the screen, £39.99, and you've got your 2 flexi-buy payments on that. Also been very busy for that fantastic hand drill with all the drill bits.
I love it.
I mean, yeah, a one-off purchase. That's you done. I mean, it's just fantastic because they're the perfect drill bits inside that you can store inside. For your earrings, your pendant bails, you're going to need it because you're going to want them to move. And you've files in there, wanting to make all sorts there. And they're useful. I mean, look how fine that one. This is just brilliant, depending on your bail sizes. That's just amazing. £22.49. Obviously, you do get as well, their files. There we go. We've got our lovely files as well in there also. 459571. So we've burnished, we've had the brush on there.
We've had the brush on there. So the last bit I'm just going to demonstrate is the patina. So you can use your paintbrush, but I'm quite precious about my paintbrushes. So yeah, no painting is allowed with these. So I keep my paintbrushes really nicely. And you know, if you look after your paintbrushes, they really do last a long time. So I never leave my paintbrushes in the water. I always leave them out. If I'm using it, it means you get a really nice tip on them. So if you're using the paste, you literally, you know, just use the tip of the paintbrush for the paste. And again, you don't get the paste all the way up the paintbrush and don't waste it. But anyway, so we're now going to use the patina. So that comes in the liver of sulphur gel, and it's a really nasty gloopy stuff. Yes, it really does look horrible. And
it's like iodine, doesn't it?
I know. Yeah, and so you're just going to paint some on. So I've put water on this already, and you're just going to paint some on.
And then the cotton bud.
Yes, with the cotton wool bud, so you can just bin it, and then. Oh, it just stinks. It does.
Yeah, that's it. It smells like rotten eggs.
It smells of rotten eggs.
That smell. Yes.
If it doesn't,
right,
then it's gone off.
Be thankful it's not smell-o-vision viewers.
Yes, yes. So I'm just taking the excess off here. And now the colour that you get is very dependent on, obviously, the polish of your piece, the temperature of the water and the acidity of your water. And as you can see, it's working now, so it's going darker. And I did a class once in Bath, and they have the best water.
Do they really?
I got the most fabulous bright blue and purple colours on it. Yes,
wow.
I know. So if you're in Bath, see now here I think we've got slightly hard water. Is that right here, Peterborough?
Yeah, it is hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see we're getting more of the autumnal colours.
We need to go down to Bath and get a bottle full,
yes.
don't we?
Oh, it's fabulous. Bright purple.
I would have thought that.
Yeah, same
with our waters.
Just the tap water. You can also have a go with some of the cleaning agents. You know, if you put some cleaning agents in it.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
fantastic.
So it goes darker.
Gives it that antique feel. So we've got 2 of those bottles there, £12.90, 308 738. We're coming to the close of the show. Please remember to look on the website. Don't forget those inspirational books as well. £11.98, £18 saving there. You've got the original Studio Fossil moulding kit there with your putty clay there as well. Obviously, Helen's fantastic book, 80-page book with all sorts of guides there, and the 5.6 grams of the Flexi Silver, £18.99. Different size packets there of the PMC Silver. We've got the cutters, we've got the hand drill. Really busy on that hand drill because you're going to use that for so many other things as well. £22.49. Don't forget you can buy your tickets for the 19th and the 20th of May in Kent to see us, and also do some workshops with Helen. Yeah, you can book your workshops with Helen. She'll be there. She'll be not far from her Chandler stand. If you can't find her, she's at the back. But just ask us, we can direct you. And she'll be holding a couple of workshops there. Get involved. So the leaf design kit, great starter kit, £26.99, 510631. Everything you need, your brushes, your leaves, that wonderful little pot of magic there to get your silver clay going again, the PMC Flex K. And then you've even got a little chain, your board, the roller and the
roller spacer,
the spaces,
last forever. Yep.
Brilliant kit, that one. And then you think at the end of it, I can make either a little pair of earrings or a beautiful pendant for £26.99. I mean, if I just, I was gonna lunge across, but I realised that would be very. Here we go. If I just grab a few of these here. And this one, may I ask very quickly how you did your daughter's name on there? With the fingerprint.
So, which I did, what did it? So I wrote it out with a pencil.
Yeah. Because
she's got a rather long name, so Emma's rather good, but Catherine. So write it out with that. You can either use an old Bic pen or a ball stylus tool or a needle tool. So anything that's a sharp, and there again, you know, to highlight the print.
Brilliant. Of course, you can make a beautiful, beautiful pendant. And obviously going more advanced, some stunning rings, some stunning necklaces, extra additions, and it's just pure beautiful. It's a 99.9 silver, isn't it?
And it has an inherent value. You don't feel guilty about making anything.
Gorgeous, no, just enjoy, just enjoy. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much, Helen. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see Helen at Kent, and obviously the next time she's with us. Watch on the repeat if there's anything you missed, and obviously if any questions, obviously we answered some questions there as well. Thank you for watching. Still so much more still to see, so don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in Kent, if not before.
Yes.
Thank you, Helen.
Great. Thank you.